What's going on?
I'm excited, Ed. We're back.
I'm trying to get through this.
How so?
I got all these allergies going on down here, man.
Oh, my God, yeah.
Pollen just coming out of the trees, right? And I spent some time in Florida. It was bad down there. So Sonia and I do these Ed Talks, right? So I was in the studio with her yesterday.
Very clever, by the way, Ed Talks.
Ed Talks.
Yeah, very clever.
But so we did like 15 of them. It took us like almost all day to get through them because we were all hacking and coughing. So if I cough and jump in the middle of this thing and start coughing, I apologize, but I got a head full of stuff, so... What have you been doing?
I've been taking nasal cord. If we're on the pod, just
shooting up.
It's actually helping me, by the way. So, but other than that, busy. Right now, everything's starting to slow down. By the way, I have some news for you.
What's that?
Did I tell you that my new book is being picked up by Wiley?
That's
publisher.
Super cool.
Yeah, I'm super excited about that. But they said like 6-7 months before they can even publish it. I'm like, it's kind of a long time.
Because if the ones you've done yourself, you would have had out already.
It would have been done. Yeah. A month from now, it would have been published already. So this is my first book through a publisher. Let's see how it goes, Ed.
That'll be cool. And you got a heck of an endorsement from Jeb Blunt on
Jeb
that, right?
Blunt, Sales Gravy. Big shout out to Jeb Blunt. If you've never read his book, Fanatical Prospecting, you should read the book. It's a great book.
Yeah, super cool. I like you better than him anyway.
Thank you very much.
We won't share that. So anything else? I had a chance to see the Iron Cowboy. Anybody that's been to President's Club, I see Jason Martin's on there on the call here. He was our keynote speaker at President's Club, and he came really through Victor's recommendation. For the last 5 or 6 years, they've allowed me to have some input into our keynote speaker at President's Club.
I've given you some good ones.
Oh, yeah.
I've given you some good speakers.
But you swore that he would kill it.
The Iron Cowboy is something else.
Maybe Jason can put something in the chat, Jason Martin.
And you said you have the recording.
We do have the recording. We only have it for 90 days. I've sent it out in a link last week. Spend the time and get in there and consume this content.
Can I sell them on the Iron Cowboy?
Tell them they got to watch this, right? Because they didn't listen to me. I think there's only like 100 views.
I get a chance to be around all kinds of speakers. I've met so many speakers, whether it's Les Brown, John Maxwell, in this case, I've met them. I've been backstage with them, hung out with them. I thought the Iron Cowboy was going to be like, right? Because it wasn't, if you look at him, he just looks like like an athlete, but a regular dude. But his presentation, I remember it came up from after I introduced him, I believe, I came up to the front just to watch it and just mesmerized. It's not that he's a great speaker. His story is just so great. And he does it he tells you the story. This is the guy that did 50 Ironman. I couldn't even do one Ironman. He did 50 Ironman, 50 days in 50 states.
Yeah. That
right there is mind-blowing, but he takes you on this journey, and then he does it with video. So he talks, and then he shows you video, and it's not professional video. It's like, handheld phone video, and you almost like go into his life, his mindset, and how he pushes through these obstacles. Mind-blowing. I'm just sitting there, I was floored. One of the best speakers I've ever heard.
Yeah, I mean, and that was the general consensus, that came out of the thing.
I was like, I'm looking at this guy going, what am I witnessing right now? The first time you see it, it's like, what are you witnessing? Because the way he tells the story and then weaves it in with video, it's almost like proof. Like he's not making this up. So when we talk about authenticity, that guy is the epitome of authenticity.
Yeah, and again, they did a great job recording it. We were able to capture it. Like I said, we only have it for 90 days.
You should watch it.
Then the link will be pulled down. So if you've not yet, and I know, it's busy time, right? It's crazy busy time.
No, this guy's worth it. This guy, there's moments of resilience in that story.
Yeah.
That when he finished, he doesn't motivate you like, yeah, you're the best. He doesn't do any of that. He just tells you his story. And at the end of the story, you just feel, for me, I just felt like a lazy bastard. I'm like, if this guy can do that, I should be doing more. Yeah. So he motivates you in a inverse way. He doesn't tell you. You just feel like you could do more.
Yeah, and what I loved about him, and I even mentioned it when I shared the broadcast or shared the recording, I said he opened it up. He said, I got to tell you, I'm not a motivational speaker, so you can all take a breath. And then he proceeded to just motivate the hell out of everybody.
Because you see what he does and what he pushes through, and you're like, I think I can do better.
Yeah.
You walk out, I think I can do better. So you should watch the video if you get an opportunity. If you haven't seen him live, at least watch the video.
For sure.
Great video.
For sure. Yeah, and like it's very well done. Very well done. Victor, we had a contest when we did the broadcast last month, and we put up a prize for the folks that could pick the winners.
Yep.
Pick the winners of the men's NCAA basketball tournament and the women's basketball tournament, right? Even Steven. Only 2 people out of like over 300 entries, almost 400 entries in the chat picked the women's winner. UCLA ended up being the winner.
Okay.
Only 2 folks. We were giving $500 away for each bracket.
Wow.
Only 2 folks. C.T. Burns is going to get half of that 500.
Okay.
For picking UCLA.
Do we know it's a he? CT?
No, we do not know. All I know. So if you're CT Burns, you got to send me a note and give me your email address so I can send you the Amazon gift card.
Yep.
And then David Hopkins was the winner. I know David Hopkins. He was at President's Club.
Okay.
The Chairman's Club winner, actually.
So he doesn't need the money.
From Western. Well, I think he's going to take it, though.
Yeah.
I think he's going to take it.
Big difference between needing and taking.
So he got half. He got
I
half.
love the way you said that.
When we had on the men's bracket side, we had a lot more folks pick Michigan. Right?
Okay.
Michigan ended up being the winner, and they blew everybody out of the gym until they had a little push at the end with Connecticut. But we had 15 people on the earlier broadcast this morning. We did a random draw.
We did
a random draw live. So
we have it recorded.
Trust us, we have it recorded. And here are the winners. We picked 3.
Right.
And Chris Weppert, who's the region manager up in Waltham, he was the first person we drew for $300. And his boss, Pat Percello, was so kind to him. He just told him he's going to donate that $300 to the Rollins Relief Fund.
Oh, my.
And I don't know if Chris even knows this yet, but that's what his boss told him he's doing with it. And then the winner of 2, I bumped it up to $600 because we can make an even split. The second guy that we drew was Tom Hughes. He got $200, and then Anthony Lugo got picked up $100 for that.
Nice.
So that was a pretty cool contest. We had some fun with that.
A little money here and there.
Yeah. What else? Who else?
That's about it. Let me see. We got on the call here. We got Elizabeth Walker keeps popping in and out. She doesn't know how to use her green screen or background yet. She'll figure it out.
I see Eric.
Haley Palmer thinks that's funny. Haley's like, yeah.
Eric is like bumping along. Eric has got somebody with her.
Oh, look, Elizabeth's back.
They're trying to talk to us. They don't know we can't hear them.
Oh,
but
we can't.
They're talking. So
what is Erica doing?
They got their hand up. She's trying to talk. We're not talking to you. You're alone.
There's 2 people in that car. There's a passenger and somebody driving.
There's Jason Martin. I tried to catch up with him at President's Club. Just never did.
I think Timothy Smith is in the witness protection program. He's got the hat down, everything looking a little dark there.
Nice.
Got everything blurred out.
Jordan Johnson got a group of folks with him in his office there. That looks pretty cool.
I love it. Alex, what's happening? Kenny.
Tristan's rubbing his beard. I still struggle
with the beard thing.
With the beard, because I was never allowed to have a beard for 42 years.
I just keep thinking about the M&Ms.
And he's just making me. He's like, check me out, man. Check me out. I love it.
What's
Tristan.
the guy, Machine Gun Kelly, that talked about Eminem's beard being weird? If you know the reference, let me know.
I do.
Make sure I'm not alone.
I know that reference at 67 years old, and I shouldn't. But
beard is weird.
What else you got? Anything else?
That's it, man.
So let's jump into some numbers, then we'll get into some content. So really a super strong performance in March that put the bow on a really strong quarter in revenue generation by the Rollins brands, by the Rollins U.S. brands. Just spectacular. When we talk about March we'll start with residential pest control sales first. Revenues, $77 million, which is an 18.7% year-over-year increase. Victor, 18.7% increase.
Man.
I mean, like pushing 20% increase, phenomenal.
Big numbers.
Year to date, the $216 million of residential PC revenue represents a 14.1% increase.
I'm taking that double digits.
Take that to the bank. Commercial PC revenue, $45 million in the month of March, 10% year-over-year increase, and $126 million for the quarter for another 10%. So all these numbers are double digit, which is
great
outstanding.
Numbers. Great numbers.
Termite revenues, $27 million, up 12.7% in March.
Dang.
$75 million for the quarter. Up
Holy buckets.
16%.
Say that again. 75 million. Go, sorry, I get excited.
But pull it all together, you got $150 million for the month of March. Killing it, right?
You guys are amazing.
15% increase.
Can we just reflect on that $150 million in a month?
Crazy.
That's it. I just wanted to take a moment to really reflect. That's a big ass number. I'm sorry, but that's a big number.
For the quarter, it's $419 million. 13% year-over-year increase. Just outstanding work going on.
Who are these animals that sell like this?
They're on quite the run, for sure.
That's a great number.
The other great news, and I shared it in one of my messages the other night, is, you and I came from that Orkin business, right, where they rack everything, right?
Right.
The company market share is like pushing 60% now. This team is turning on rack. I mean, it's crazy. I've got first quarter numbers. $4.5 million of rack purchases by the Rollins brands, which is just outstanding. Victor, it's increased 73% year over year. 73% increase. Almost doubling what they did.
I think everybody should get a bonus for that.
I don't know if they'll get a bonus.
Yeah.
But it was one heck of a quarter. But
that's amazing. 73%. Wow.
But I keep beating the drum that as I've traveled around, I've been in a bunch of branches, been in a bunch of places over the first quarter, And we're just scratching the surface.
Right.
These folks are just scratching. What happens with this, it gets kind of contagious.
Right.
You know, you get one region getting after it, you get one brand getting after it, you get one branch getting after it, and they're looking over their shoulder like, what the heck's Victor doing over at his place? I need to get some of that too. And I would say to the folks out there on the call, if you have not increased your rack purchases 73%, you're behind the curve. You're behind the average, right? So so obviously if the company's at 73% increase, there's some folks that are probably in the 200s, and there's some folks that are probably having a decrease, right? Yeah. So make sure you're getting your share of rack. You will hear me never leave that drumbeat of it's the only way to close any business that's rackable over $501.
Now, I know we've talked about this before, but I want these folks to hear it again, and maybe you can resend that podcast. Was it Nick Keekins?
Yep.
That I asked him I interviewed Nick Keekins on a podcast, and I asked him the question, what percentage of your deals are racked? And he just kind of had that like confused look, like quizzical look, because it turns out
92% of his contracts get racked. More than 9 out of 10 contracts that are rackable.
He looked at me like, that's a stupid question to ask me.
And he led the company last year in $2 million individually.
We should resend that podcast out.
I did send it to this team. I don't know how many consumed it, but I will do that. I'll tee that back up.
It's a great interview, by the way. There's also the piece of content in there, and I'm being repetitive, where he talks about how he almost quit and gave up.
Yeah,
and that's very motivational. So we should send that out again. It's a great interview.
For sure. Yeah, and I'll be sure to do that. I'll make a note of that. The other thing I want to do is I've had some conversation this morning with both Jason Sacco and Adam Granito. Jason runs the wildlife group for us, and he and Adam runs the iWow group for us. The kind of the sales leaders for those two divisions. And they're at RMDP. They're at the Region Manager Development Program. They're looking to do more. I mean, it's a really cool program.
Love these acronyms.
Yeah, they're like in D.C. or somewhere. They're doing something really cool. I think they're in D.C. this week. So they're not on the broadcast. But they asked me, each to a man, please recognize my team. Okay. Please recognize my team. They want. I'm sure they want the flowers, but they really want to recognize their team and the performances they've delivered, because it's been staggering. Okay. I mean, just crazy staggering. Let's start with Jason. We're going to share the numbers, the individual performance numbers in a bit here. The TruTech Wildlife team had over 30 people get paid on over $100,000 last month.
Nice.
And the iWow team that Jason Martin's a part of, and some of the OPC folks are a part of, they ran like a 270% rack market share increase. So wow. So just know you're two.
Can I say wow?
Yeah.
The iWow people?
I say iWow. I think you should say like
iWow.
Wow.
iWow.
Yeah. Just super strong performance numbers. The earnings. We report our earnings on April 22nd, so I can't give you much other than the fact that it's great when you sell business and drive revenue, but you got to drive it to the bottom line without getting myself thrown in jail. I can tell you that we had a pretty strong quarter, Victor, for the Rollins brands. It went well. And but if I even knew those answers, I'm not allowed to trade any stock. They put us in a blackout period because I have a little bit of knowledge. But even if I knew, I'd never be able to figure it out, because sometimes we report great earnings at Rollins, and the stock takes a dip. Yeah. And sometimes we report like what I would think would be kind of mediocre earnings, and the stock goes up. So I can't figure that out. If I did, I would have retired a long time ago.
That's right. It's a black box.
Yeah, it's a black box.
Yeah. But these are great numbers, by the way. Those are fantastic numbers.
Yeah. And again, you visit with a lot of companies, right? Nobody's
don't hear
15, 20% increases. No. Just super cool. So in addition to that, we have a really cool video. Okay. We've got a really cool video that we're going to share the individual leaders across the brands and sales, and then it'll be followed up by the 18 folks that sold over $25,000 in racks. So this is a cool video. So let's play that video, please.
Run it.
Status check. Command on internal.
Affirmative.
Telemetry and launch condition.
Affirmative.
Missile and internal DC.
Affirmative.
Pressurization complete.
Affirmative.
T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Ignition. Liftoff. 30 minutes out video.
That's a nice video.
How about
That was
that?
a nice video. Well done,
I mean,
Ben.
perfectly timed, right?
Yeah,
with
perfectly timed.
With the launch and the
Everything.
and the Orion
I've
circling around.
been grabbing a lot of the moon
You showed me some of
images.
those
Yeah, I just love those new shots they got from behind the moon.
Yeah.
It's just beautiful, man.
And the goal is to land on the moon again, like in 2 or 3 years.
Could be.
And we're
could be.
racing China this time.
Yeah.
You know, I'm so old. I remember when Neil Armstrong walked on the moon, and I watched it on a black and white TV. You know, with all of us,
Yep.
and all my brothers
Gathered.
and my parents huddled around the TV.
I think I remember it.
Yeah.
But I
like
just
68. I think it's been like.
68. Yeah, that
Yeah.
sounds about right. That sounds
Yeah.
about right. It was way back when TV only had 3 channels.
That's
But
all it had. But
These are great numbers. Look at home team. Dustin.
no, go start with TrueTech.
Oh,
that
I'm
was
sorry.
The first one's on the board. We got 2 pages here.
Critter control.
That's that 30 over 100K that they kind of got. 30 of folks were over 100K. I felt bad by cutting Jason's list off, but I mean, look, there's 3
The
dudes
big
over
dog
200.
was what? Michael Higginbottom.
227.
Does he smoke like, does he go in there with the pipes? Hi, my name is Michael Higginbottom. My lifestyle critter control. Just something like that?
I don't know. Why
Little
don't you
British
ask him?
accent. He sounds like he has that.
I don't know that, man.
Yeah.
But it's just crazy numbers.
Dustin Pike. Nice. Look at these
And
numbers.
you come down to Iowa, and I see Jason on the call. Jason, you got 5 out of 10, brother. Great job. I think a couple of those folks I met in Louisville when we were down there hanging out together.
Wait a minute. I don't see Jason under Iowa.
No, Jason's he's the OPC
okay.
region sales manager. down
Gotcha.
there.
Okay.
Yeah, I talked to these guys like I know him. I met Jason
Yeah.
like for 2-3 days. He's like an old friend, So,
Okay.
but no, he's killer, man.
Did
I mean,
he pay for dinner? He's on the call. Did he at least pay for dinner?
these guys have credit cards, man. All these Rollins brands have credit cards. I don't even have to come out of my pocket
Okay, there you
anymore.
go. Good for you.
As an Orkin guy for 42 years, I never had a credit card. It's just mind-boggling. We had to expense everything. So I don't know,
Love
it's just
it.
kind of funny. But then you got Fox chiming in there.
Yep.
Fox.
Cody Scott, Richard Cabrera,
Crazy.
Brandon Bonnet.
Then Sayla.
Sayla.
Sayla just bought another big pest control company, another door knocking company.
Did they?
Corey and Mitch out there. You remember
Okay.
Corey Horlacher from his Orkin days.
I think so, but hey, Dustin
Look at that,
Nesbitt,
100,000?
let's mention him. Yeah, he got it. He nailed that one.
He's flipping it over to the home team, folks.
Home team.
Dustin Laranger.
Home team.
I met Dustin at President's Club. A lot of these folks
How
I
did he
met at
pronounce his
President's
last name?
Laranger, because he was their chairman's club guy. And I had
the
to
Lone
pronounce
Ranger. The Lone Ranger.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
Like
Lone
Lone
Ranger. All right,
Ranger.
stop.
Dustin Lone Ranger.
Just stop.
Then
and then
there's-
Roosevelt McCrae came in second. And
The Roosevelt is a Roosevelt. Roosevelt.
I don't know. Will you stop this?
Roosevelt
But I just
McCrae.
want to tell you one thing about him. I went up to him because I met him two or three times already. And the dude just got energy to burn, right?
Does
He's
he?
just
Does he?
He's exciting to be around. I walked up to him at President's Club when he was with his wife or sister, I think, and I said, "Man, just let me rub up against you. Let me get some of that." And he was laughing. We were having a blast, but no.
There was a
all
moment
good.
there when they
Then
rubbed
the
up
Clark
against
folks.
each other.
This is an interesting story on the Clark, and I think I saw one of the Carols on here. So last month, Baby Boy was #1 for Clark.
Brandon
month-
Carroll Jr.
Yeah, this month his father put him in his place and just slapped him down and said, "That's
Get
my
down
spot.
there. Get down
That's my
there."
spot. Get out of
Yeah.
there." Now the good news is a junior, #1 son. He's still on the list.
Okay.
But Dad put him in his place. I
There you go.
thought that was a pretty cool story.
Nice.
But again, just a whole bunch of folks I met out there as well, and then last but not least the Northwest folks. I
Yep.
mean, just killer. I mean, 4 or 5
Ryan
dudes.
Arthur, Region 7,
100,000.
Greensboro.
Crazy.
Well
Yeah,
done, man.
all
Well
through.
done.
And then the rack list, like I talked about.
Khalil Alcanza.
Yeah, we're really gaining ground. There's 18 winners. You know,
Nice.
I am going to raise that bar. I'm going to give you one more month at $25,000 for this $100 gift card.
Yeah.
Then that mark's going to 50, folks, because I think
50?
we've got it in the game.
Okay.
We got it in the
Not
game.
even an intermediate step like 30.
No, we're just
Okay.
going to drop the hammer. It's on. It's
All right,
season.
all
It's
right,
time.
all right, Ed.
Go get your 50.
Yeah, you're like,
Go get your 50.
I'm
It's
not giving away
doable.
money anymore. Screw you
We-
guys.
No,
I
we'd
love
have
it.
had 4 or 5 of them get that, but I mean, just
Nice.
crazy good numbers
Yep.
across the board. But again, when you think about this, we had 18 winners. We had 6 from TrueTech, Critter Control.
Okay.
We had 5 from Fox and 5 from Sayla.
Okay.
So 18 of them,
Okay.
16 of them are coming from 3 of the brands. So
Gotcha.
if you're not at 75, you don't have people on this list. Let's get some representation there. Because I think what happens with rack, like anything, as we experienced it on the Orkin side, it just starts to spread.
Right.
You start looking around.
It's like a contagion.
Like what's he doing over there? What are they doing? I got to figure out how to get me more some of that.
Yep.
Right. And I think that's what's going to happen here. I just see. I truly believe that we're going to, by the end of the year, we will take that 73% increase year over year. That will be doubled. It will absolutely be doubled because there's really some momentum gaining. And I was involved in a call 2 weeks ago, no, a week ago, calendars run together with the travel, where the folks from Northwest, the region manager brought in, a bunch of his salespeople on a Teams call, and they invited some folks from Critter Control, and they all got together on that call, and they brought the rack experts in. They brought Michael Toth and Terrence Reeves, who are the heads up the rack. So they walked through a whole bunch of questions, and I was involved in it, had some role play stuff on there. But I think it's an education piece, right? Understanding how to close, how to use it, and really how to spin it. And that's been a lot of focus as I've traveled around, is focusing on that. So
can I ask you a question? Is there any training for do anything on video or something on just rack training?
Yeah, and I mentioned in a message I sent out to these folks last week is that Terry Groft, who's the big cheese of rack, they put a site up.
Is he like the rack daddy?
He's the rack daddy. He's the rack daddy. But they have a site now that you can go out to, and it's got a whole bunch of videos. It's got a couple of my closes on it. It's got a couple of the OPC folks' closes, a couple of the Fox. So a little different variety. Again, it's that Shuhari thing we talk about all the time. The concept with rack is I don't need any money up front. I don't need any money now. Wait till the work's done. Wait till you're happy with it till you pay us. And everybody closes that a little bit different. They take that general concept of put your checkbook away and you'll pay me when you're happy after we check the work. And then they spin it that way.
What was that story? You always have a great story. I think it's in California. It's a celebrity that has enough money they could have just paid for it, but they still racked it.
Yeah, no more Garcia Parra and Mia Hamm. Racked their $1,800 fumigation job. So
they racked an $1,800.
That question came up on the Teams broadcast that we did last week, and one of the guys said, "Well, people in my area, I work in a wealthy area. A lot of my turf is wealthy," and they said, "Well, they don't need rack." I said, "Wait a second, stop.
Yeah,
rack is for everybody." Rack is not about payments. It's not about financing.
If Mia Hamm needed rack.
She didn't, right? But,
she did.
But the salesman pitched it that don't pay us until you're sure the work's been done. Yeah. It's such a unique advantage that we have at Rollins that nobody else can offer. I think it's the strongest bullet we have in our gun residentially, bar none. I mean, because nobody else can do it. Yeah. Nobody else can make that offer.
Because it isn't so much about the actual price. It's about the promise made behind the price.
Because like I mentioned on the call, everybody has a story of either being ripped off by a contractor or they know somebody that's, the guy came out, he started the job and he walked away, he never came back. Right? And everybody has a story, or they're familiar with a story like that. Heck, they're on the evening news every night, right? Investigating, Channel 3 investigates, this sighting guy that ripped off these poor people, right? So, I think that resonates when you tell them, look, we're so sure of the work that our folks do, we don't need any money today. Any money up front. Based on a short approval process, we'll get you approved 90 days, same as cash, and we'll settle up after I get a chance to come back, my boss gets a chance to come back.
There you go.
That's the close, folks. That's how we're going to take this thing and double, and I think potentially triple the rack purchases in the Rollins brand. So we're excited about that.
It's feeling confident. I love that.
I get fired up about that. So we're going to talk content today. We're going to go short, and this we covered this a few times. In our time of doing these things, and I like to call them Weasel Words, right? Like stuff that maybe you shouldn't say, or customers shouldn't say, or you should have awareness of what customers say. And I always lean into two books. I lean into Doug Robinson, who is an all-time retired sales trainer from Orkin. The guy probably taught me more about sales than anybody I ever bumped into. And I like it because it's short little chapters. This is a book that was written by a guy who did nothing but sell and teach people how to sell pest control related services. So, I mean, it's like an expert.
I think everybody in this company should read that book.
Absolutely.
Everybody should read that book.
Absolutely. And what I'll do, first 5 or 6 people that give me a good note in the chat on why they want me to send them one, I will send them one. That's the first book. The second one is I think another book that was, I know you didn't write this for us, but we've been working together for a long time.
A long time.
A long time and you've been around and watched us figure out how we mastered the upsell on the Orkin side of the house. I mean, we took it from going out to see a pest control customer who just signed up for service and selling them a $30,000 bundle. Doing the same thing with 3 inspections. And this is mastering the upsell. This is Victor's book. I'll give another 5 or 6 of those away as well. Put a compelling reason in the chat on why I should send it to you. But those are the 2 things I want to talk about. And then in addition to the Weasel Words, which is kind of one of Doug's calling cards, you did a piece a while ago on that. So let's jump into maybe what we shouldn't say sometimes or be careful not to say, and then maybe what we want to watch for customers to say to see that they're really not as committed as you think they are. So let's start there. Let's start with one of Doug's main ones. The one that just drives him crazy is, when folks say, to be honest with you. To be honest with you, Victor.
To be honest with
you. So your take on that, and then I'll.
Well, when someone says to be honest, it's like, have you been? I actually say this to people so they stop saying it. I go, does that mean you? I just want to stop here. Does that mean you've been lying up to this point? And they usually just freeze because it's like nobody's ever stopped them and questioned them. So it's a bad hiccup, or you called it a tick that we have. We says to be honest with you. The other one I'm starting to really dislike is, does that make sense?
Yeah.
And
I'm guilty of that a lot.
You do that a lot?
I because as you know, I record everything that I do, right? So I did a presentation to the region managers. Big deal. 200 big shots in the room, and I got the recording back, and I watched through it. And as you know, I watch these with my bride. She watches my game film, and I said 3 different times, does that make sense to anybody but me? Yeah. And just a stupid thing to say, And it's like, why do you say that? Not get that out of your vocabulary. Yeah. But I think what we want to do is as we think about these weasel words and we talk through a few more instances, record your presentations. Right. Even if you're in a role play in a branch, record yourself so that you can see these because they're hidden. We all have them.
And it's so easy to do today. You take your phone out, hit the record button, whatever it may be.
Smash the button.
We don't do it because I know why I didn't do it initially, because you hate hearing your own voice.
Don't you? Yep.
It always never sounds the same as it does in your head, which kind of makes sense because one is transmitted through air, the other one's going through the bone in your ear. Yep. You sound better up here. Yep. But it's almost shocking to see how bad you sound in terms of how you phrase things. Yeah. But that's the only way you get better. Yeah,
and it is. I mean, you've got to do that, and it is the reason that I believe that I've had success standing up in front of a group of people, because every time I do, I record it. Right. Even if I have somebody in the audience just take an iPhone and record it and send me the data. And I don't want my boss to see it.
It's hard.
It's tough listening to yourself.
It is.
We get these broadcasts back, and I'll show them to my wife, and she'll be like, "What is wrong with you?"
I can't. By the way, when I record, when someone records my speeches, my keynotes, I don't watch them till about almost like a month later. I just can't do it. I hate watching. I never understood Johnny Depp when he says I never watch my own movies. I'm like, why? They're great movies. But then I realized that I don't like watching my own keynotes. It's hard to watch yourself, but you have to in order to catch some of these hiccups.
Get better. Yeah.
Let me get into some of the weasel words.
Let me just throw one more out there.
Okay.
One of Doug's pet peeves is, what I want to talk to you about today is, just like I'm going to tell you what's going on here, right? And his are more like the demand things that we say to people.
Yeah.
And
I want to talk to you. Here's what I'm going to talk to you about today.
Or I don't know how much you don't know about termites. Like why?
It does seem like it came out of a 1960s movie.
Yeah, exactly.
Let me tell you what I'm going to talk about.
Jump into a couple of your ventilating modifier.
Yeah, the official word for weasel word is ventilating modifier. A ventilating modifier or a weasel word is, these are words that we throw in. They really don't have a lot of value, but they also lack commitment. And you hear your customers say this. Have you ever been in that one presentation or one conversation with a customer, and everything went well, but you get to the end and all of a sudden they go, let me think about it, let me get back to you, let me talk to my spouse. And you're like, well, what happened? I thought we were having a great conversation. But if you listen carefully to what they're saying, here are the words I want you to start kind of paying attention to. So, in other words, I'm going to show you several words here. And when you hear these words in a conversation, you need to stop and then drop a question. So, for example, one could be this, the word think. They'll say something, I think we can make that happen. I think that's a good idea. When I hear a customer say that, I go, okay, that's not a real commitment. That's a negative signal. Well, we may be able to get this approved. I may be able to talk to my husband or wife into doing this. Or, that might be a good fit for it. That might be something. Or, that could work for us. Maybe that could work. And my last one here is, because it combines 2 of them, well, that might be possible. Yeah. Now, every time I hear this, in my brain, I'm going, they're not with me.
Yeah.
That means something in my presentation or conversation has to change. And most people miss these and they just think they're going to close.
So what do you do? So if I would have said to you, that might be something that we could do, Victor.
At that point, I would say, Ed, when you say might, that still sounds to me like you're not convinced. Can I ask why?
Just stop it right there.
Just stop and just ask that question. And most people don't want to do that. They just want to get through the conversation, get through the inspection, get through the proposal presentation. But when I hear things like that, well, that might be good. And you said that might be good. What's holding you back from saying that could be good or is good? Just that word is.
And if you think about that's that whole concept of, salespeople have been taught for years to try to get that head nod into the head and get in the yes. And I think sometimes we misinterpret that when they say one of these one of these
Yes,
ventilating
it's a good way of
modifiers,
looking at it.
They look at it and they're like,
It's a real good
oh,
way of
I got a plus. Oh, they're good. Let me go to the next one.
That's
Let
a
me go to the
good
next
way.
one.
That's
And-
a really good way of looking at
and
it.
you think about how we're trying to do that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what else on that?
On these, I want you to think of the inverse.
Yes.
You know what I'm talking about?
Exactly.
When you say it. Like, and I've done this ad. The one that really.
Guilty as well.
Guilty. In other words, we use them. The one I've caught myself using is think. You know, I think that this would be good for you. Now, what the customers hear is a lack of confidence when you think you're trying to be gentle. Because here's what's happened. There's a stereotype of salespeople, right? And we don't want to be that stereotype, right? The ABC, always be closing, right? So what we try to do is add these ventilating modifiers, almost as to couch the conversation in a softer way. I think that might be. You could possibly, and we're just trying to make it gentle. And we think that's what we're doing. But from the other side, the customer is saying, you don't sound very confident in your product or service. Your thoughts?
I think that's, all the stuff that is out there in the sales world. And, obviously we don't want you ABC always be closing. I mean, you're going to get run out of most any place.
Yeah.
You try to play those games, right? And it's just not the right thing to do. But I'm going to make a confession. I hate the term consultative sales. And I understand you got to get the customers you got to ask the right questions. You got to get the right stuff so you can serve up, based as that consultant. But I think what's happened is we've gotten so soft,
Right.
That we just tiptoe around all this stuff.
Again.
Well, I think this might be something that could work for you. I don't want to hear that.
I don't.
And I'll use the story. I had my foot all busted up, right? And I was in this walking boot, and I go to this, this high-profile surgeon here in Atlanta, right?
Right.
And I'm like, dude, what can I do? And he says, well, you could do this, you could do this, you could do this. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
What would you do?
Yeah.
And the son of a gun wouldn't answer me.
Yeah.
I said, I'm paying you all
The
this
son
money.
of a boop wouldn't answer me.
Why won't you tell me that? And I think sometimes.
And the fact that they won't answer that question gives you less confidence in them. And then you feel like, I can't make a decision because you can't help me make a decision.
And this can sound terrible. You know what I did?
Yeah.
I flew home. I was going home anyway, so it wasn't like I made a special trip. I went and saw my doctor friend.
Right.
The guy that I know, an orthopedic guy. I said, what would you do? He said, you got to do this. I'm like, let's do it.
That's it.
Couple clips, couple snips, and we were good.
Yeah.
But does that make sense?
It's just here.
Again,
There it is.
Sense. There it is. There it is again. That tick that I
You know
have.
what it is? Does it make sense? It's almost like an insecurity blanket, like Linus and the Snoopy thing, right? You say that because you don't even have confidence in what you say.
Yeah. And I look at it as I'm trying to find confirmation.
That's what but it's like you're grasping. It's almost like you're grasping for
exactly.
Does it make sense? Because I hear that all the time. I hear like speakers go, da 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 da. Does that make sense? I'm like, sure.
Yeah.
Right? Da, 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 sure. And I'm not even locked in.
Right.
So a replacement I would use for that makes sense. Based on what I've shared so far, do you have any questions? And if they go, no, well, here's one I usually get that maybe you're thinking about, but maybe, let me answer it now. And then you bring up that question. It goes, I was thinking that. Because sometimes they don't want to tell you.
Amen.
Or have a question. But here's a question I typically get. Yeah. So let me go ahead and clarify that now so that later on, it doesn't become a question for you. Something like that. Instead of, does that make sense?
Yeah, and I think that's part of that being, we talked earlier about being on the conversation instead of in it. When you can identify when people say these things, right?
Yeah.
Because oftentimes when we hear them say that, that may be something we want to do. Or that might be something we're going to do.
But I like what you said earlier, that you think it's ticking a box and you got that's forward momentum. That's not.
Yeah.
That's like, that's fake momentum, because when they say, that sounds like a good idea, that might be something. Well, that does sound possible. And you're thinking, okay, this is going good.
Yeah.
And at the end, let me think about it. You're too expensive. I don't know. We're going to get 2 other bids, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
And then you're like, what happened?
I would encourage you as teams to get out there and, certainly these sales leaders we have out there, to encourage your teams to role play and record that stuff and walk through it. Finish a presentation, say, okay, how many times do we ventilate that modifier? Whatever the hell you want to call that word, right?
So let's look at it from 2 perspectives so we can close this one out. Is that one is you want to, again, monitor your own. If you can record at least 1 or 2 conversations just to see if you're using it, maybe hold each other accountable. Find an accountability partner to do that. And every time you catch each other saying things like, I think, is that possible, whatever it may be, or does that make sense? Just call each other out on it. But again, the important part, here's the task for you, the real task, is to, when you're talking to a customer and they say that, might be, could be, possible, may, I want you to figure out how can you stop and then drop a question in that conversation to make sure they're really with you.
Amen. Amen. And I'll just use an example that, kind of finding that person that you'll do that with, right? So there's a very successful national account guy who I just spoke to at Oregon. I haven't spoken to him probably in 3 weeks. And I wore him out. He would say, I'll be honest with you. And I would stop him and fix him and correct him every time. And I thought I had a beat out of him. So I'm in a conversation with him. I think it was like last week. We're just talking about stuff. We're talking about life, talking about his kids, checking out how he's doing. And he laid that on me, and I just went phone silent.
Right.
And he's like, "Are you still there? Are you still there?" I said, "What did you just say to me?"
Yeah.
And that was just, he said, "Oh, man."
Did I do it again?
He did it again.
Sometimes you're not even aware of it. And like I said, I use the word think a lot. And then, so I've had my wife telling me when I said the word think too much. She goes, "There you are again. Saying it again." Because you're trying to couch it in a very soft way.
Absolutely.
Don't do that.
Absolutely. And you got every opportunity in the world to get game film. You're doing a presentation, turn your iPhone on in your pocket and just do the audio.
Yep.
And just see if you've got any of those games that
I've seen a lot of people use, you ever see that little card called Plod?
Yes.
And so Plod is like applaud, but just plod.
Yep.
And they just hit the button, record the call, then upload it. And then you can have the AI actually tell you how many times, you can just say, okay, analyze this, tell me how many times I use or any of these modifiers.
Absolutely. And the iPads that you're all using, you just smash that record button, you get all the audio, and you just don't see the nonverbal.
Even better. Yeah.
Just perfectly
Wonderful.
good. All right, let's get out of here.
Let's do it.
Just a couple things. So let's work through some housekeeping first. Just kind of a safety message right now. We're at the peak. I mean, it's going crazy temperature-wise. Most part of the country, record highs. It's going up into the 90s. I left Florida. I left Florida last week before it got into the hundreds. I was out in Arizona at President's Club. It was well into the hundreds. Hydrate, 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 hydrate. And more importantly, take care of your people. Your leaders, make sure you're taking care of our technicians that are going out there and doing the work, and you salespeople that are showing up on jobs and showing up on starts. Make sure you come loaded for bear. You come loaded with drinks and Gatorades and figuring all that stuff out. Take care of your peeps. I guess that would be it. We're in the final quarter of the rack contest. There's the competition in the brands is really close for the spots that are going to get a marvelous trip out to Huntington Beach, California. I mean, just be super cool. And by the way, they announced at President's Club, the President's Club next year, next September, is going to be in next April, next March is
next year
is going to be in San Diego at that Hotel Del Coronado.
I love San Diego.
Crazy good place. I think that's it. Other than the messaging I shared last night, the note from Seth Godin. It's just subscribe. Hit the subscribe button. Open that link up that I sent to his and read that thing on pricing, because I've heard so many conversations on pricing. I guess the salesman whine is what I've heard. Oh, this company's doing this for X, and I can't compete with that. And I think that's all happy BS, right?
Yep.
I mean, it just doesn't make any sense. You're working for a premium company. You're going to charge more money than everybody else. Step to the plate, own it, and make the separation.
Right.
And I think what happened with that email, it was so timely last night from Seth that just said, you and I talked about it a little bit. You got to bring it,
Yep.
And if they're not seeing the difference, it's your fault.
It's your fault.
It's your fault as the salesperson if you can't create that separation with the companies and the brands and the offers that you have. So with that, I will leave you with a way we used to end a lot of old red zones. Continue to separate yourself from the competition by being different. Go get it, get after it, finish April strong, and continue doing what you're doing. Appreciate y'all. Thank you.
Be different.